Should be straightforward, but you never know what's gonna happen. What else am I gonna forget? Let's go! Starting off where I've left you hanging in a previous episode, we have both the tunnel sides cut out, and now we're gonna make them exactly the same. So what I did is I stacked them up, I fastened them together with some glue clamps, and then started sanding and chiseling the entire construct. Is construct even a word? Anyway, we're sanding and chiseling the entire construct so that we have two exact copies of each other. Okay, so now I know. They are exactly the same, just in opposite. Now I can put these to the side and I have to make the bulkheads which will fit in between. And that meant getting another plywood haul from the DIY store. An ideal car for this. And after laying out the plywood sheets on my drawing table, I could go ahead and draw out all of the bulkheads. Now if you're unaware of what a bulkhead is, these are the walls within a ship that give rigidity to the ship. Basically, without them, you have a self-propelled bathtub underwater. Now as you can see, there are a lot of lines, and a lot of lines means not time for party, but... And after calibrating my saw blade, it was time for lots of sawing. And then my battery died, so I had to switch to my phone. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm working on the bulkheads, which you can see I've put in front of me on the glue clamps. And I'm making cutouts for the beams that will run from stem to stern, so along the entire boat. All done, and that meant that I could go to the shop to buy the beams that will go into these square cutouts. But before I can work on the bulkheads, I have to set up a template with some spacers, which I'm doing right here. If you don't quite understand what I mean, you will soon enough see the gist of it. And now the sides are exactly parallel to each other, which means I can more easily insert the cross beams like this. With that part done, I could finally go to the glue sniffing part, which meant mixing epoxy in the correct ratio and putting it on the to be glued surfaces.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Well, actually it was the next morning when I realized that the epoxy that I had used was clear. And that meant that I hadn't used any thickening agent like Stavatics or bits of cotton. I corrected it afterwards, but it took a lot of time and effort, so don't be like me. Goodness gracious. Right here. Okay. That looks. Okay, so it's the next day now, and yesterday when I was wrapping up, I was confronted with a massive error that I made. You see, I was making epoxy glue to glue the bulkheads to the tunnel sides. But yeah, just mixing epoxy is not enough. You actually have to mix it with thickener, Stavatics. That actually makes it a nice wood glue. So that meant that I had to remove everything that I had done at that point. I'll break it off basically, and then do it again with the same epoxy, just thickened. So I was in a lot of hurry, and well, I fixed it, I think, but it's not the best, and at the end of the day you're not sharp. So as you can see, this is the thickened epoxy. It's not even completely solid right now. Probably because it was too cold. But now it's pretty warm in here, so it will probably solidify pretty soon. Lessons learned. Also, now is a good time to show you what we're gonna do. We just finished making these two tunnel sides, which you can see the top of right here. And now we are gonna make the bulkheads that can go in between, like here, 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 and here. And of course, here. There's where this one comes in. And there's another one, that one, going on the other side, like this. Also, I have bought some more clamps, because you can literally not have enough. I can't overstate this. You can literally buy 100 and still don't have enough. So I'm just gonna start where I left off yesterday. I'm gonna mix some epoxy. This time I'm gonna put some Stavatics in it so it will form a nice wood glue, and then I will place the remaining bulkheads in place, which I made yesterday with my remaining glue clamps. Should be straightforward, but you never know what's gonna happen. What else am I gonna forget? So the mixing ratio is 2 times the epoxy, 1 time the hardener. Making a big old mess. Okay. Like I'm doing something else in here.
Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria.
Okay, that makes it a lot more sticky and thicker. Now it's really more of the same. Gluing the remaining bulkheads to the tunnel side, so I can then, later on, place the beams in the slots, glue it all together, and yeah, then glue it all together. Now what's important when you align the bulkheads with your tunnel side is that if you've done your maths correctly, which I hope I did, this line and this line will exactly fit the plywood plank, and this line will correspond with that reference line. So basically you can just pinpoint exactly where it needs to go, right up there, and then just
Boom! Quick maths!
And now the glue was drying on my bulkheads, I went ahead and started with the cross beams. These are very important because they will hold everything together. Imperial measurements. Not even. So now I have to make this plank, beam 2 and 3, just a tad less wide, and therefore I'm going to use my table saw. I cannot use my circular saw, nor I can use my jigsaw, because that would be a terrible job. So I'm going to use this one. I'm not really fond of this machine. It always reminds me of textbook pictures that I once saw with chopped off fingers and such, but let's just be safe today. Okay, so I'll just cut this off. So now I have almost all the beams and large beams ready. Only the front one is remaining, the bow beam. And the bow beam is special because that one has to have a trapezoid shape. And how the hell am I gonna do that? Well, therefore I'm gonna use the table saw again. See, this is an example I made. This is the shape that I want. So therefore, I'm gonna align it like this, and then move the blade on an angle. Which angle, you say? Well, it's right here. I have to use some quick math. 13 and 9. So, is that possible? Yeah. 13. Let me check. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, let's go. But I do have a nice angled beam now with the perfect angles, trapezoid, which will fit right up there. Now I was all caught up in my work, but suddenly it dawned on me. I am not able to put the cross beams in from the side because my workshop is just too small. But with some out-of-the-box thinking, I realized that if I put one tunnel side on the ground, I could put all the beams in and then put the whole thing back in the other side. I'm really talking horseradish here. Just watch the video, you'll see what I mean.
NANI?!
Okay, It's done. Jeez. And with that sigh of relief, I end this week's episode. We came pretty far and established the full skeleton, and that makes me pretty happy with these results so far. And with those inner bulkheads in place, only the outer bulkheads remain, and those and some other works will be done in the next episode. See ya! Now, if you like the video and like what I'm doing, please click on the thumbs up button and maybe even subscribe if you want to stay updated on the project. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, so it's an adventure for me as well. I try to upload every week if I can, and if not, if you have any tips, also please leave a comment. And well, yeah, that's all I have to say basically, I guess. Doei!